Podcast Network.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? I'd like to welcome you to the very 8th episode of the Talk It Out podcast. My name is Tyler, and I am broadcasting live from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Hey guys, this is Bruce, and I'm broadcasting from the Seattle area, South Seattle, Puyallup, something like that.
And this is Justin. I am broadcasting from Bruce's fence post.
Interesting.
Right in the corner of his yard.
Interesting.
Like a scarecrow.
You guys, how close do you guys live for our new listeners today?
I don't know, 9 miles.
Yeah, something like that.
If I had to guess.
Yep.
If you had to guess, it would be 9 miles.
9 miles that way.
Right.
I'm pointing right at it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Welcome to the Talk It Out podcast, everybody. We are a live and interactive podcast. You can tune in live right now. We're on Facebook. And if you're listening to the audio version on iTunes, come join us on Facebook. Let us know. Turn on those notifications, and we'll be broadcasting live. We usually do 1 or 2 episodes a month, and we're going to try to up that frequency a little bit here in the coming weeks. But what we are a live and interactive podcast that listens to your feedback about current events. So we do a little fun. We play some icebreaker games. We kind of tell stories that we want to talk about. We talk about each other. We talk about what's going on in the world, and we hear from you. This is all about you. This is your podcast. This is what you want to hear, folks. So send us your listener feedback. You can tweet us at Talk It Out Pod. You can join us in the chat room. Hello, everyone from across the country, across the world who's listening in to us on Facebook. We're glad you're here. We see some of those folks in the chat room now. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to get diving in right now to today's show. But first, we want to make a mention of who we are. So we talked about this a little bit in the beginning. My name is Tyler. I'm from Scottsdale. I have a day job with a major U.S. airline, and I like having fun. So how about you, Mr. Bruce? What's your story?
My day job is, technology, IT, DevOps, operation development, whatever you want to call it. It's, it's interesting work, and I love it. Big fan of technology in general, so I get to work with that all day. And I'm a dad and a musician, but mostly I'm just a tech guy.
Sweet.
That works for me.
Techie. Love it.
That came in handy during the earlier portion. If anyone was watching while we were fiddling with technical problems, this is our first time broadcasting on Facebook Live, so we're working with some new software and stuff. And Bruce, of course, is instrumental with us figuring it out.
Definitely. He's here for our assistance and his as well. He's Mr. Justin, what's up, man? What's your story?
Oh, well, I'm Justin Hartford. I am the person who created this Christian Pig page that we're even broadcasting this on right now. So that's, at least I can take credit for that. My day job, I work in marketing. I am also a dad and love it. And I'm in the Seattle area along with Bruce. So stoked to be doing this today. I'm glad we're working through the problems. And here we are on Facebook. Biggest audience we've ever had.
Here we are. We are on Facebook. We have one more host who's going to be joining us, looks like very shortly. And his name is Josh, and he's a really, really cool guy. We'll hear more from him as we get going. But we want to dive right into today's episode. Once again, if you're joining in the chat room, feel free to say hi, say hello, let us know what's up. And we'll hear a little bit from you later on during the listener feedback section. Here on the Talk It Out podcast, we do current events, and we have a little game called Round It Out. And here's how this one goes. Let's hear that Round It Out theme music. So basically, Round It Out is where we go through and we talk to each one of the hosts, and we get their take on a top headline from the last week or two. And the best part about this is they only have 30 seconds to give us their feedback on whatever topic we're talking about. So it gets a little frustrating. So, but bear with us because it's pretty hilarious trying to fit all of our thoughts compiled into 30 seconds. So here we go with the first topic, and I don't know if we're going to have an audio clip of this or not ready, but we're going to go ahead and just talk about this one. Newt Gingrich was on Fox News Network this past week, and he was talking to Kelly. And if you know the big Megyn Kelly, she's from Fox News. She's a pretty big personality, and she's come out and spoken against Donald Trump, which is pretty anti-Fox News, anti-conservatism, if you will, anti-Republican, all that kind of stuff. And he came out against her, and he said that they got into an argument about Donald Trump, of course, and he said some things. And do we have that audio clip, or should we just continue talking about it?
I don't have it, I don't think.
Okay, well, that's all right. We'll continue talking about it real quick. And basically, they go on into an argument, and he accuses her of being fascinated with sex, if you will, because she continuously is defending women and not Donald Trump, and based off of Donald Trump's views. They get into an argument. We'll have all the notes, show notes on this. But if you heard about this, we want to hear your thoughts on it in the chat room. But first, we're going to play our little game, like we like to call Round It Out, where we got 30 seconds. Mr. Bruce,
yeah.
I want to hear your 30-second thought on this whole situation. Is Newt Gingrich being ridiculous, calling Megyn Kelly fascinated with sex because she's defending women instead of Donald Trump? Is Megyn Kelly being ridiculous for not standing up for her network's causes? Should she leave? Should she quit Fox News? What's going on with this whole political season? Everybody's getting absolutely crazy. We want to hear your thoughts on it. 30 seconds starts now.
One thing that I definitely would add is that I think it's a pretty great distraction. It's most likely the case here. I don't know enough about it. I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure this is a great way to get people to stop thinking about real issues. And when I say real issues, I mean like major problems with the United States that we need to fix. So that's my guess on it.
All right, 19 seconds. That's all you took. That's all you needed, man. That's all right. Hey, well, we like that.
I was expecting longer, to be honest.
I kind of was in a little bit. Mr. Josh, welcome to the show, man. We missed you a little bit. What happened there?
Yeah, I had some headphone issues.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, we still love you. Mr. Josh, where are you broadcasting from?
I am from Des Moines, Iowa.
Iowa.
Home of Korn.
Korn, the band, right?
Not the band.
Yeah, we've been over this. That's great, Mr. Josh.
Never,
it's good to have you.
Never.
We are right in the middle of the first rounded out topic. And basically what it is Megyn Kelly from Fox News got into an argument with the former Republican Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, and they were fighting about something. And finally, Newt just got so mad, and he blew her off, and he said, you know what, you're just fascinated with sex, simply because she was standing up for women and not for Donald Trump. And we just want to get your whole thoughts on this whole political season in general. You've got 30 seconds to sum up the 2016 political season. Sounds tough, but I know you can do it. 30 seconds, Mr. Josh, starts now.
The 2016 political season is a train wreck inside a circus, inside a zoo, inside a toddler's bedroom that has been plastered with Legos.
Wow.
That's all I got to say about that.
Nice.
Dang. Only 15 seconds, and for some reason I think he kind of just described the whole thing perfectly, but that's just my opinion. Mr. Justin, 30 seconds on this whole season. What's going on with Megyn Kelly, Newt Gingrich? He's a former Speaker of the House, for God's sakes, and he's fighting with somebody on the news. What's going on with this? 30 seconds starts now.
I hate to rattle the same chain, but all I can think when I hear all this drama is I think, boring. Like, it's who cares? I mean, and the reason I say this is not because I don't care about women or I don't care about things. I just think that it's all a show. It's not real. So,
It's so fake.
It's a distraction.
I'm not going to defend either side. I'm just going to say boring.
Yep.
I agree. 25 seconds. Man, you guys are doing great. You're staying under your time today. It's like you've practiced this. It's like you know what's going on. So, in fact,
Not a clue.
Hey, that's all right. You guys are pros. We know it. You're so pros. We're going to move on, actually, to the World Series. Have you guys been following this? Do
Yes.
you know what's going on right
Yes.
now in
Louis-
the baseball
Louis
world
McCain,
here in the United States of America? Can you
Unfortunately,
freaking believe
yes.
it?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
The Cubs, and the Cleveland Indians, two of the worst NFL teams, right? Just kidding. But two of the worst NFL cities,
Right.
two of the worst NFL cities have
Good
some of the
one.
best baseball teams right now. Can you believe it? They are in the World Series. What's going on with this? So we're on game 2 tonight in Cleveland, and it looks like the Cubs are up. I think last time I checked, it was 5-0, and the Cubs have
5-1.
lost 5-1
5-1
now. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that score update, Mr. Bleacher Report. And we've got on the first game, what was it, 6-0? They got a shutout, and Cleveland won that one, I believe. So your thoughts on the whole World Series? What's going on? Is the drought over for the Chicago Cubs? Mr. Bruce, give us your thoughts. 30 seconds starts now.
The drought may be over, but I got to be honest. I would really like them to lose. I like keeping them in the bottom. I like oppressing them, and I'd like to, I'd like to not see another major market team happen and then have their entire appeal kind of lost. And also, I would kind of want them, the bandwagon guys, to go through this horrible drought like the rest of the team has been going through. And their real fans have gone through. So
That's scary. 30 seconds is up. 30 seconds. Give us your thoughts. I know you're not much of a sports guy. You kind of told us that in the previous episodes, but that's okay. We still love you, Mr. Josh. 30 seconds on the World Series. The Cubs haven't won the World Series since what, 1942? Is that the last time? Somebody
They haven't
correct
won. I think it was 1918. They
Or
haven't been to the
1918.
World
I
Series.
think it was 1908 actually.
Oh wait,
Oh, wait. Okay. I don't know where we're getting these numbers, but
It's-
you're
it's
listening
It's
in.
definitely 1908.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So 1908. God forgive us for our disorganization here. Mr. Josh, 1908 was the last time. What's
Yeah,
up
I
with
mean-
it? 30 seconds. Go.
it would be really cool if they did break this losing streak. The curse of the donkey. I haven't heard much about it, but I know very little, something about a donkey. And now we can break that stupid curse because it's stupid
It's Curse of the
superstition
Goat.
stuff.
Because it's stupid.
Go,
Yeah.
go,
Mhm.
not the donkey.
Ah.
Yeah.
So,
Curse of the goat.
but yeah, that's all I really know about it. And it'd be cool if they won. I mean, 1908. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
We
30
got-
seconds is
We
up.
got to preface that a little bit by saying Josh isn't a sports guy, so
Yeah.
it's fair. It's fair enough that he even knows there's a World Series happening. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
looking for notes. Otherwise, I would have piped up.
yeah.
That's all right. 30 seconds, Justin. You get to pipe up now for as long as you want. And by as long as you want, I mean 30 seconds. Let's hear about it. Starts now.
Well, I have mixed feelings. One, I'm excited for history to be changed in baseball because both of these teams have the two longest upstanding losing records
Yeah.
as it pertains to the World Series. So that's, as a baseball purist, I love it. I don't think that either team's going to be a big market team, whatever. The Cubs are unfortunately victorious over the Giants, fortunately over the Dodgers, and frankly, I hope they win it.
Dang. It only took him 28 seconds to spread his love for Chicago. And righty here. I'm going to go ahead and chime in on this one. I've got 30 seconds. My clock, you can see here, starts now. 30 seconds for the Cubs. I don't like Chicago, okay? I'm from Wisconsin. Always love Wisconsin sports. The Bears suck. I want to be a Brewers fan, but they suck, okay? I'm actually rooting for the Cubs. I want to see an underdog win. I just want to see them win. They've gotten so close so many times before, and I just think it's their time. Just let them have it. Just give them 1 year. We can move on next year, as long as I don't have to hear about it later. 30 seconds is up for that topic. We're going to move on to our next story here. This one's a little more silly. I got this one off of mirror.co.uk, and this one's titled, "Memes Are Now More Popular Than Jesus." Here's the proof. Okay? So Jesus Christ of Nazareth, to the majority of Americans, the savior of the world in their hearts and their souls, are now not as popular as internet memes according to mirror.co.uk/news. So a Google trend that clearly shows, we'll put this in the show notes so you can fact check us, the search term memes now ranks higher than the search term Jesus, who many believe the Son of God. The fact was noticed by Dominique Vincent Salone, a.k.a. they give his Twitter handle here. Having searched Google Trends myself, it appears the point in which memes became more popular than Jesus was just after Jesus' 2014 birthday. Okay, so then they show some charts here that go on about this. But I wanted to get your thoughts. Give us 30-second review on this whole internet versus God thing. I mean, I think you all three have some really intellectual thoughts on this, and I want to hear them. So 30 seconds, memes versus Jesus. Let us know what you're feeling here, Mr. Bruce. It starts now.
If your faith is at all challenged by other people's memes, there's a problem with your faith. So they can bring all the memes and all the challenging they want to Christ, and if you believe he's Lord, that's it. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's never. I mean, he's been ridiculed and made fun of, and Christians in general have been, forever. And so, I mean, memes being bigger than Jesus, there's lots of things that are bigger than Jesus. In the world. So why are memes any different?
30 seconds on the nose. Nice job, Mr. Josh. Are memes better than Jesus? Or are they just more popular than Jesus? Let's hear your thoughts. 30 seconds starts now.
I think it's funny, this whole trending thing. It's stuff that, is big today and gone tomorrow. I mean, maybe not in the mindset of memes, because I know a lot of people love their memes. But as far as, who really Googles Jesus on a daily basis? I mean, you go to your Bible, you got that shit. You don't need Google. Well, Justin, but, but for the most part, we know what we're doing. I mean, you go to your Bible, you know about Jesus. You don't need Google. But I don't know. I think some days it'll be
30 seconds again. Is up. Thank you so much for your thoughts, Mr. Justin. 30 seconds. The existential problem in 2016. Why? Why are memes more popular than Jesus Christ? Let's hear about it. 30 seconds starts now.
Well, folks, the jury's in. The data has spoken. Numbers never lie.
Good Lord.
I have accepted memes into my heart.
Oh, my God.
as my giver of life.
Wow.
and my supplier of truth.
Man. So that's it then. That's how this one ends.
In memes' name, amen.
Okay, that's enough. We're moving on.
We're moving on. Father, the Son, and the holy dank meme.
Okay, you guys. That is hilarious.
Don't forget Dat Boy.
Dat boy JC in our hearts. Okay, this next one's a little more serious, but I want to get your thoughts on this one because I think it's an actual real problem that's being drowned out right now by this ridiculous election. This one comes from NBC News, and it says Secretary Ash Carter orders Pentagon to stop reclaiming re-enlistment bonuses. So what had happened was back a couple of years ago, I think maybe more than a couple, 2007, maybe 2008, the United States military started paying out re-enlistment bonuses to some of these soldiers that were going back into the Army, and for other reasons too. But long story short, there was a lot of money that was being handed out to soldiers, and at the time, rightfully so. And basically, the government came out last year, the year before, and said, hey, we need that money back. That money we gave you, we need it back. We accidentally gave it to you. We were only supposed to give that to select people who were putting themselves in harm's way. In so many words, they were talking about what the criteria for harm's way was, special forces, things like that. And long story short, it was only supposed to go to select people according to the original amount in the allocations for that budget. However, it ended up going to pretty much everyone. So everyone got a cut of this money, and now the government says, we screwed up, we want that money back. And a lot of people were upset because they had already spent that money. And it turned out that for some people it was a lot of money and they couldn't pay it back. One soldier finally refused, and he said, "I'm not paying it back, and I will sue you if you try to make me pay it back because I've given my life for this country." And now we have this breaking news as of today that says the Department of Defense Secretary Ash Carter orders the Pentagon to stop reclaiming elativeness and bonuses. So it sounds like the soldiers are winning, but I want to get your take on this because I really think that it spins off into a bigger issue of the fact of how much our servicemen and women make. And I want to get your thoughts on that because it's an unfortunate and sad reality that these people aren't making more than $30,000-$40,000 a year on the front lines, and I want to hear your thoughts on that. But of course, this is rounded out. You've only got 30 seconds to tell us about it, Mr. Bruce. What's up? What's up with this?
Just to clarify, all efforts to collect this reimbursement have been suspended, so they're not going to do that anymore. They're just counting it as a loss now. So just to be sure, I mean, at one point they sent letters out and asked people, but they're not. So I'm just clarifying the thing before we go that. One thing I would say is it's kind of a bank error in your favor in this case, but if it were another situation there weren't
30 seconds is up. Thank you so much.
Oh no, my 30 seconds didn't count because I was clarifying what you said.
Yeah, no, sorry. You spent 20 seconds clarifying. Okay. Mr. Josh, 30 seconds on military servicemen and women and the money they make. Let's hear about it. Go ahead.
Dude, I am so happy that this error happened because nobody deserves that money more than our people in the Army and the Navy and in all fields of military. Nobody's more deserving of this type of mistake. I'm glad it happened. I hope it happens again, and I hope that we continue to show appreciation for our people in the military. This is a way we can do it. So if it's a mistake, so be it.
30 seconds is up. Thank you for that.
It's whatever.
No, dude, you don't get to go over your time. You know the rules. No, I'm just messing with you. Mr. Justin, 30 seconds, military servicemen and women. How do you feel that you're sitting on your lazy butt doing a podcast making more than some of these men and women are making? Let's hear about it.
Man.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Wait, this podcast I'm making?
Hey, man.
I haven't got my check, Tyler. I haven't got my check.
Okay, listen. We'll talk about
later. There's something with the government.
Obviously, there was a clerical error, and if you have an issue, you can petition it later. 30 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm a little taken aback, and frankly, I was kind of enjoying Bruce a little bit. I hadn't heard any major updates, but when I initially heard the story, I was like, they better not be getting that money back. Leave it to the military people, and because like Josh was saying, they're the most deserving of anyone out there, other than podcasters, of course. But still waiting for my check.
So
30 seconds is up. We're going to come back to this, guys. Don't worry. For those in the chat room,
I hope we do.
I know our friend Zach in the chat room. Thank you for your service. Zach, you spent 5 years in the military.
No, it wasn't Zach.
I'm sorry, not
Daniel,
Zach. It was
Daniel.
Daniel, thank you so much. Sorry for that error. That was almost as big as an error as the government made, according to them, which is ridiculous.
You better take that one back, though.
Oh, absolutely. They deserve it. They deserve every single penny of it. Mr. Daniel, thank you for your service. 5 years in the military. We seriously appreciate that, and we mean that from the bottom of our hearts. We'll come back to this topic because it's a pretty good one. But I believe that that is it for the rounded out section. Mr. Johnson.
So it seems like this is an interestingly hot topic in the chat room. There's a couple of points that have been brought up. One point is that a person said they have some insight as a military member. So I'd like them to comment in the chat room on some more insight information. And somebody else said, can they sue the government since Social Security is running out? Because they were saying, the military folks were going to sue if they pursued them. I would say suing the government over Social Security, I believe a class action has started, but I don't know if it's ever gotten any sort of traction, and I think it's been tried before.
I think there was one guy who started a class act, and I don't remember what his grounds was for it, but I know that they backed off and they forgave his loans, because the way that they had started fixing this problem was they had started just forgiving people's debt, but only a few people, and everyone else started getting really mad and for very good reason, and it kind of turned into this spiraling issue, which has since prompted the Department of Defense to come out and say, okay, we screwed up, here you go. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't get into that, but suing the government is and that's a tall order, and I'm pretty sure this has been tried, but I don't think it ever got anywhere. They did. I think there was some sort of outcome to that, where like there were benefits due to people that were based on some sort of interesting situation. So there was a class action lawsuit that figured it out, but I think it was related to like disability, retirement, felony kind of thing. Anyway, so I just want to address that in the chat room. People, someone had mentioned that, and I like interacting with the chat because that's kind of what this show's about.
Yes, thank you so much for
I want to do
being
that.
active.
And then it seems like someone said the rules are too rigid, and I'm thinking I'm not sure if they're talking about. I'm not sure what the rules.
They're talking about our rules
our
for
30,
the 30 seconds.
rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's for rounded out, though.
That's to quickly rapid fire get through some topics, and then we can talk about it more later.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. We'll come back to those.
So I think, if I'm wrong, we usually move into like a news story thing based on our own news stories that we've chosen. Does anyone want to start that, or how do we want to go about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically what we do is we go into our own section where we get to talk about what we want to talk about, because even though the chat room is the most important part of this podcast, here's what we do.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Yo. All right, talk it out when we get to talk about what we want to talk about.
I'll have a talk with the. I'll talk to the audio engineer about stepping on you on that one. He kind of messed up there.
That's all right. We can still be friends. That's okay. We can still be friends, everybody. So let's hear from Mr. Justin. I'm sure you have an interesting story this week. You always have interesting stories. And let's hear about it. Let's hear what you got to say, dude. I want to know.
Funny you should say an interesting story, and funny you should puff up my storytelling abilities. But this week I actually have something a little bit different. Not only do we have the World Series, and you guys know I'm a little bit of a sports buff. We're right smack dab in the middle of the NFL season, which frankly I don't care as much about as a lot of people here in the U.S. do. But we do also have the beginning of the NBA season, which when we started this podcast, it was right around near the end of the last postseason of the NBA. And so some interesting things, there's a lot of storylines that are kind of the front of the news pages this time of year. We have the Warriors obviously acquiring Kevin Durant, so lots of people are speculating on their success. They had a day one loss. But I'm interested to actually get some take my time here to do a little poll. So I want to get you guys on the record on your predictions on a few things.
Oh my gosh!
So I want to get starting with Bruce, who notoriously hates the Cleveland Cavaliers. What is, out of their 82-game season, what is your prediction of their regular season score, and do they win the championship again this year?
No, I think things have shifted a bit in the league. Boy, what is their record going to be? Just the Cavaliers only?
The Cavaliers, yeah. We'll move on. We're going to go through this quickly, make a prediction, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Man, I'm gonna put them at 48 wins.
48. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. And then do they win the championship? So, I mean, no then.
No.
No. Okay. All right, Josh.
How many games do they play?
Out of 82.
82 games.
82 games.
How many wins do the Cavs get? You're on the record. We will revisit this later.
Somebody just mentioned the MLS playoffs, and I'm not commenting.
And go Sounders every day.
I'm gonna say 56.
56. All right. Seems a little bit more realistic. I don't know what Bruce is. All right, Tyler.
You know what? I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna do 67.
Whoa.
67 wins. And do they win the chipper? You counted them out to get swept last year against the Warriors.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna go with the Bucks sneaking in there somehow. The Milwaukee Bucks and winning.
Oh.
Not sure how.
I don't think so.
But I believe in God, so.
Wait. Memes or what?
He believes in God, apparently.
God.
Oh, I could have swore you said he believed in memes. All right. So that was actually my next question was going to be if you had to predict the sleeper, who's the sleeper this year? Who's the team that's going to
Milwaukee.
The Knicks.
Great
all
success.
the way.
New York
Milwaukee
So
Bucks.
Bruce says the Knicks,
But
who
I'm
got
biased.
obliterated last night.
Hey, it's the first game.
All right, Knicks.
They didn't get
Josh,
obliterated.
who's the sleeper? Do you need me to tell you who the teams are?
Josh, just say Milwaukee. They're building a new facility. It'll be done in 5 years. It's going to look great. It's on the lakefront. Everybody looks nice. They updated their logo. They're a young team. They're coming in. Milwaukee Bucks all the way.
All right, I like that. So Josh, you picked the Lakers then, right?
Yeah. Lakers.
We got
All
some,
right.
we got
All
some
right, all
Celtics
right.
fans in the chat room. All those Boston fans. Yeah, we'll
We
see.
also have fan of the artwork behind me.
Those are all your kids, right?
Thank you, Martha. No, I did all these actually, but
Oh, I'm jealous.
no,
I like it. And then
I
my
did
last
all
definitely my kids.
my last
Okay,
question is
all right.
is the other obvious one. So how many wins out of 82 do the Warriors win? Last year we know that they finished with the best win percentage in basketball history.
Mm-hmm.
And then they acquired, top 5 player in the league on top of that roster.
Mm-hmm.
How many wins do they get this year in the regular season?
Um,
And do they win the championship?
Boy, that's gonna be tough. I'm gonna give them 68 wins. Again, like a really high season, not as high as last year, but I'm gonna say they don't win the championship.
Who beats them? Who beats them, Bruce?
That's a tough one. Cleveland, if they go, maybe, but I'm not gonna go that far. This is a tough one. I'd like to see Chicago beat them. I think Chicago will do better than we think.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm a homer, so I'm going to say the Knicks, but that's not likely. So, yeah, we'll see, man. It'll be interesting. I really would like to not see that happen. I mean, but if I'm going to be realistic about the NBA, ever since that major trade, Durant, everything's like lopsided now. Whereas we had like a competitive series with Golden State and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Now I don't think we're going to have a competitive series. Like it's just going to be over. And it's yet another like major powerhouse in the NBA situation where there's no competition, or they like destroy the competition and buy a championship again. I don't know. I don't dig it.
I could see that. I'll butt in and say that I think that if I had to predict who I think is going to win, I think that the Spurs have put together a really good team in the offseason. And someone in chat even mentioned Pau Gasol.
Yeah.
One of my main men. As a big Lakers fan, I have nothing but respect for Pau, and he's going to fit in perfectly with the Spurs system. And so that's who I'm choosing to win the chipper this year. Josh, how many wins out of 82 does Golden State get?
Bruce said 50.
He said
right?
68.
I said 68.
68. So I'm going to say 67, Bob.
Huh. They won 67 in
67.
the year before last, I think.
Isn't
Yeah,
that how this works?
When they
If
won.
I'm-
When they won.
Closest without going over?
Yeah, that's kind of how it would. Like Price is Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you say $1, then
Yeah. So I'm
Tyler.
going to stick with 67.
all right, what do you got, Tyler?
And the Magic is going to make it happen this year.
The Magic. Okay. All right.
He knows more than one team. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I don't know, man. I don't have that much faith for them, dude.
Okay.
I just don't. I'm gonna have to go somewhere right in the middle, somewhere right average.
I think also, to be honest,
man.
I think Justin is more the NBA buff than all of us.
That's true. I'm an NFL guy. Everybody knows that.
That's why this is fun.
I bleed green and gold.
But I'm a big homer, so like I really only follow my teams very well. I don't
I
follow
agree.
the league a lot, so like I follow the Yanks, Giants, and the Knicks and the New York Rangers.
I could probably coach my team. That's how much I follow my team.
Isn't that what all
Like,
fantasy football
I
players
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know anything else, but
so yeah, we'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see indeed. Can we go on to a non-sports topic, Mr. ESPN? Anybody have a non-sports
I got a good
story
one.
they want-
I got
Okay,
it.
let's hear it because I appreciate you, Justin. By the way, I want to give you a hug.
Well, he wants
We
to put
gotta
it
have
on
a change
record.
of pace.
He wants to put it on record so that he can bring it up later and show us we were.
Okay, that's right.
You better
He wants
believe
to
it. You better
prove
believe
us
it.
wrong. He
So-
wants to prove us wrong.
An interesting thing happened on Sunday evening in DC. Have anyone ever been to DC and ridden the metro?
Yes, all the time.
So there was a train driver whose shift finished, and he said, "I'm done." I guess things are running slowly that day, and his shift ended, and he refused to move the train. He was like, "I'm done. I'll peace." I'm out."
No,
He just
are they
said-
union?
I think they are. And I
Okay.
guess we'll go into union things in a little bit, and I'm sure
Sure.
there'll be some folks that are pro-union.
Yeah, I gotta be careful.
So, but I mean, this is about talking it out anyway. But anyway, so he just like there's a train full of people, and it's busy. You know, it's pretty busy. It's Sunday evening, so it's not like rush hour, but it's busy. And I think they spent like 10 minutes arguing about like who's gonna move and operate the train, and he was just like, "I'm out."
Oh my god.
So they are disciplining him, so he's not necessarily getting away because he's a union member. But
Sure.
I mean, when your shift is up,
Can you imagine?
but
He's like done.
he's just
I'm
like
out.
Deuces.
Can you imagine being on the train and be like, "What's the conductor just left?" Like so, and Tyler's in the airline industry, right? So can you imagine like if you're on the tarmac and like just Tyler's like
Blew the slide, cracked open a beer,
yeah,
jumped
just
out, left.
peace. Yeah, just slide down the slide. Just maybe like hop on one of those little carts they push the luggage around in and just
Yep.
drive away.
Yep.
But
I'm thinking along the lines of
Oh,
heart
man.
surgeon too, man. Like you're working. Oh, my shift is up.
But I mean,
Hands
That's
off.
it.
let's so in terms of
Doctor,
unions
you gotta put the heart back in.
are the
No, I'm out, man.
Gotta clock out. Gotta
so
clock
in
out.
terms of the airplane,
Oh, it's 9. I gotta go. I got bingo.
are the airplane pilots in union or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So what my airline? It depends on the airline.
Right,
but
right.
My airline, everybody's union. For
But
the most
typically,
part.
like, so you're in a pretty big airline. But okay. By the way, Josh's opinions are his own, not his employer's. So I don't want him to get in
and
trouble. or anything.
mine as well too.
Yeah.
Mine as well.
Tyler's.
And Tyler, sorry, I meant Tyler. I'm looking
Okay,
at Josh
yeah.
because I like his hair.
Disclaimer. All opinions are my own, not opinions of my company. I will not review the name of my company, and I cannot be subject or upheld to any legal action for any way, shape, or form. And I continue to be an independent entity and a sovereign citizen of the United States of America.
Without the
Thank you.
express written consent of Major League Baseball.
That's correct.
So like one of the things I want to bring up, like, so you brought up doctors. Now most doctors are not union, right? And doctors get paid for the hours that they work. Like,
Right.
they're going to overtime. They're paid. So and so it kind of brings up the thing of like pro union, anti union. Do we think unions still should exist? Because some people think that union is antiquated, right? Because it was during a time where labor laws weren't as good. And obviously we're not economists, and neither are we politicians. But it's nice to get the everyman's idea. And Daniel, maybe he knows. He said, you can't do that even with a union job. Like you can't do that. And Daniel's in the chat room. So what do you guys think? Like unions, yay or nay? What do you think?
I think that unions have a very specific purpose. And I believe that unions are good when they stay within the confines of the written law within that purpose. I think that there is something great about collective bargaining. Okay. So collective bargaining is pro labor. It's pro the human beings that are working on the front lines of whatever company that they are a part of. So you come in a perfect world. Okay. In a perfect world, the company and the union get together. They sit down at the table, and the company says, "This is what we have the money for," and the union says, "This is how much I want." In a perfect world, the union asks for too much and settles for the right amount. And in a perfect world, the company asks for too much and settles for the right amount. They meet somewhere in the middle that benefits everyone. However, does that always work? No. Is there going to be times when the union asks for not enough and the worker and the labor gets screwed? Of course. Is there times where the union asks for too much and the company cannot accept it and they won't accept it, and then it goes to binding arbitration where some lawyer who has no ties to the company decides on how much the labor, i.e. the frontline people, should make? That's what happens. Of course, that's just the way it goes. But in a perfect world, in a general term sense, without getting into too much details, I think unions are a okay thing. I think they're a good thing. I think that I am glad that I am a part of a union, and I'm not going to go any farther with that with my personal opinion. But in a general term, I think that unions are okay. I think they're good. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're perfect. I don't think the company's great. I don't think they're perfect. Anytime you have a sense where the union is completely anti-company no matter what, and it isn't willing to budge on anything, or anytime that you have a sense where the company is not willing to budge on anything, then you're going to have issues. And I just think that there needs to be some give on either side. And just like Republicans versus Democrats, there's always going to be disagreements, which is why I need to be careful with what I say. But in general sense, as someone who works and has worked for the past 4 to 5 years within a union setting, that's just my personal opinion on it.
Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in?
Well, see, my experience with union is twofold. I don't have any personal experience with working for a union, but I do have experience working construction, where, in Iowa, we are a right-to-work state. In Illinois, we are not. In construction, you must be a laborer with the union in whatever field you're in. So, but the thing of it is that the general manager is the one that hires the companies to do the labor for them. And they can choose to hire whoever they want. Now, they would constantly hire us out in Illinois, and we would basically just work until someone caught us and said, "Hey, where's your labor card?" Where our boss told us either to lie and say it's in the van or to just walk off the site. So the problem that brought about was we would constantly be berated by people calling us scabs, telling us, the ones on the site, that we were stealing food from their kids' mouths, all this crazy stuff that we're like, dude, we're just here to work. We're here to do a job. If anybody you should be angry at, it should be your general manager, who was the one that, or the general contractor, who's the one that hired us. I mean, we're just doing a job here. I can understand passion, runs high for, union strong, but I never really understood the full details as to why they would be angry at me and not the general contractor.
Right.
My other experience would be my dad works for the fire department union. The biggest thing they've been fighting lately is there's not enough workers in the fire department to manage the fires that are happening at this moment. And we keep going back to fires that numbers that have taken place 10 years ago, which the numbers of fires they fight now are much higher. So now the union is in fight with, with their captain and trying to figure that all out. So I can see, union they're still necessary. There's still reasons for them. We're talking about safety here. We're talking about people being, kind of marginalized in the fields. So I think they're important, but I think, like Tyler said, within the confines of what is their necessary job and what should they be doing and what should they just stay out of.
Yeah. So somebody pointed out in the chat room that they're a big fan of private sector unions versus public sector unions. And then somebody else pointed out that they were helped as an independent freelancer artist, makeup artist. Their union kept them from getting sued because there was a type of skincare issue with some bride who had bad hygiene, but she tried to sue her. But since she worked for the entity or the union, I guess, had protection against legal action. So there's a couple things I think about this. I would say I'm not pro-union. Here's one example why. In like the 70s, maybe it was earlier than that, the steel and auto industries, they shifted their factories to right-to-work states. And they started looking for non-union areas. So everyone lost their jobs because they were looking for low-cost, non-unionized labor. So I'm definitely not against people banding together and trying to work with their employer as a group of people and say, hey, we expect more or better from you, and if you're good at your job and that it's not a skill that can be easily outsourced, they may speak with you and may, they would come to an agreement, and that would be like a private union in that regard. But public sector unions, I can't get behind public sector unions for sure, because like what happens is you can't do work with people or have them work for you outside the public union. Usually there's all of those sort of wacky rules that would maybe ruin productivity, you know what I mean, or at least hurt some basically the person that suffers in the end is the consumer of the product usually, because they're not able to do something because it's not union based or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
So,
and I think
that's a big thing right now. My wife is a nurse, and she's a part of a nursing union, and they've been in a huge contract negotiation, and by huge I mean it's been going on forever with a company called Multicare, who basically runs the hospital. And what's really been happening is it kind of holds the nurses captive, and then in turn affects the patients. So they argue over all sorts of things, or can't make an agreement on all sorts of things, such as when their break should be, things like pay, of course, and those kind of things. And then really it's had a really negative effect on the nurses and also in turn the patients, which then becomes a safety hazard and a health hazard. So, and someone mentioned in chat how, it's the politics of the things that can be real negative. And I think you're right. That has a very big effect, a widespread effect, more so than just the dollars and cents.
Yeah, definitely. I think in general, I think unions are trying to do the what's best for the labor. But I also think, just like you said, the politics, the politics of it all is what really screws it up, because you got these rules that were written back in the 60s and the 70s that don't really pertain to the way companies can and should be run in today. In general, I am pro private sector businesses, because I truly believe that, the private sector is what drives the economy, So in my opinion, like if you've got unions that are just sticking to these old rule books, these old tactics, these old ways of playing games back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that caused, especially in the airline industry, massive strikes and things like that went on in the 90s. It's not going to work. First of all, you can't even strike today in the airline industry. It's just totally against the rule. Ever since deregulation, the airlines are free to do what they want. The one major piece of legislation that was put through on the airline industry is Bill Clinton put it through. You can't strike, because you go out and strike, it's breaking the law, one, and B, you're inconveniencing a large, massive, and not just a large, but a massive amount of people.
Isn't it interesting that they have the rule that airlines can't strike, but schools can? Like where's the logic in that in terms of like productivity in our country? Like we're gonna I'm sorry, you're not gonna make your business meeting, but it's cool.
Well, because congressmen need to fly around.
Right.
Well,
and
so they're more.
Really special interest though.
They're more important than.
Wasn't there a big strike that happened in Chicago?
Yeah, there's strikes. My wife
Yeah.
struck not like last year. I think it was kind of silly, but they struck technically. She's a teacher, and, I mean, but
Yeah.
in terms of like priorities, screw that, dude. Like,
Yeah.
let the airlines strike, and then and stop the education from striking. Like, I can't get behind.
Well, and the
that
biggest
at
thing
all,
about the
man.
education striking, like the one in Chicago, I think they said like 98% of the kids that lived in that school district that was on strike was on the free to reduce lunch,
Yeah, so,
the
like,
meal plans,
right?
and so they're missing out on this food now.
Yeah,
they have no.
That's how they eat. Like,
no way of
that's
getting-
what.
yeah.
They go to school. That's how they eat, man. I mean, my wife works in a pretty tough school district as well, and like some of those kids, man, that the only life they have is at school. You know what I mean? Like, like when I say the only life, not just social life, like clean water to drink. I mean, it's rough, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean it's somewhat off topic in that regard, but I just
No, but real quickly, let's get into non-union versus union, because in my world, in the airline world, which I'm assuming carries over to other places, there are major airlines, not the one that I'm in, but that the same work group that I'm in, that are union free. They don't have unions at all, and unions have been trying to get in there for the longest time, and they keep them off. The company keeps them off the property by, bribing them with, and I guess bribing is an opinion word, but bribing them with, updated uniforms, updated luggage, updated lounges, passes, profit sharing, money, things like that. So they're giving them bribes to keep the union off the property. But it would appear from an outside perspective, and I know people inside, I just haven't had the time to sit down and talk with them about this. From an outside perspective, what would be the pros and the cons if the United States came down and elected maybe just an entirely Republican government and went totally anti-union? What would be the impacts of it? I know that, especially in the United States, statewide, you were talking about right to work, and I know if you guys remember what Scott Walker, he was a huge union buster, and he went in and wrecked a lot of the teachers unions and things like that in Wisconsin. But my question to you guys is what are your thoughts on a totally union-free economy? Would that help, hurt, or empower businesses to continue on a profiting trend? Or, I just want to get your thoughts on this, especially those in the chat room. Let's hear from you guys on pro-union versus anti-union.
It seems like they're definitely. I mean, someone Daniel Gregory also said that he thinks the teachers union is a bad union and teachers are underpaid. Melissa Surges said that strikes are mostly affecting low income schools, I guess. It looks like nurses. They also, Anthony Fay believes that nurses are grossly undercompensated, and it's a joke. Like the union that what is that, SEIU, is a joke. So it seems like there's definitely. And then Mike Power says he thinks the union will hurt you in the long run. So I mean, the people that are watching maybe are more anti-union, or they see the flaws in the union. I mean, I definitely have some friends of mine that are more pro-union. And I'll also say that they're pretty left-leaning people, at least politically. I think in their case, they're like where they're coming from is they want to be sure that the company's profit isn't blinding a person's isn't blinding the fact that they should treat their workers well. But I mean, hopefully, a good company would realize that, like, happy workers are a happy product and happy profits. And that's been the case for most people. But I guess that maybe that's not the case. But I feel like we have enough regulation at government level and legal law and things of that nature, like that the employment law that would in most states would protect you enough. And then also, if you're a contractor or something, you got to set up an LLC so that you're absolved of legal action against yourself if your company has some sort of an issue there. So, I mean, that's how I go against the union versus non-union. But we've kind of been beating this topic up on my news story. We should probably move on.
No, we're just
somebody else's news story if we want to move on.
Josh, I know you joined us at the last minute, but do you have a news story for us today?
I do have a news story.
All right.
This is a little more lighthearted, so it won't take as much time. Has nothing to do with bowel movements, so that's good.
Wow,
but
this is a first.
I know this is so not me, but it is me because this is why I picked this. I'm a huge animal buff. I love animals, love nature. And something cool happened in South Carolina recently. And an elk was spotted in South Carolina for the first time, they believe, in 300 years. There has not been a single elk to roam into South Carolina.
So there's got to be
since the
another one then, right?
1700s. You would assume so. So here's the information that I've got. The South Carolina Department of Natural Resources shared a photo of the young bull elk grazing in a backyard as they warned residents to keep their distance. And I find this interesting because it says that people get a false sense of security because elk don't mind being approached. So they're asking them not to approach the elk. So if you're living in the South Carolina area, do not approach the elk. As far as I'm seeing, they've only spotted the one, and what they're thinking is that they this one maybe just kind of meandered off the boundary and into South Carolina from North Carolina, which I also find interesting that there's elk in North Carolina,
Right.
And for the last 300 years, not a single one has been spotted kind of crossing that boundary.
That's
so
wild.
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
That it took this long. But, that's kind of cool. I mean, I thought it was neat that, a state that hasn't seen this type of wildlife for 300 years, this is kind of maybe a step in the right direction, getting people to be maybe more, eco-friendly, conscious. In the 1700s, it said that they were a big sport to shoot and kill. And the last one was shot and killed in the early 1700s, according to the records there. So if you see this bull, leave it alone. They say it's estimated to weigh around 700 pounds. And it says that it was most likely pushed down from North Carolina by larger elk. So he's a little dude, just trying to make his way in life, trying to get a job, hold down for his family. I mean,
Trying to find
you gotta find a
job.
It's this whole pursuit of happiness thing, man. He's looking for a place to find his home. He's going to get into the bull market. And
All right. Thanks for this, man.
Nice.
We're so happy you brought this up.
So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, we can hunt elk here in Washington, I'm pretty sure. Although I think there may be a limit to the number. Maybe only like one
Really?
a year or something like that. And I think like moose is one a lifetime. I'm not sure about that though. I haven't hunted
Sure.
out. I haven't hunted out here at all, so I don't really know all the information. But I don't know. I mean, I can't really make the decision as to whether or not it's a good thing or not, because sometimes animals migrate because of like environmental factors, and maybe like they're overhunted, or there's people have destroyed their land or whatever the case, or they're as a predator after them. So I don't know. Maybe he left, and he's there's a bigger problem. So I'd have to do some research on whether or not it mattered, but I think it's cool to see one.
In Arizona, where I live, the current statewide elk population is estimated to be around 68,000, making elk the second most abundant big game species in the state,
dude.
just behind the mule deer.
Wow.
So I could go elk hunting here, but I wouldn't.
Go Arizona.
I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want that poor little guy in South Carolina. I wouldn't want to kill his cousin or anything. So.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
is it like
speaking
relative.
of
the 6 degrees of
speaking
separation
of,
worth a bunch of animals?
I think so. I think so.
Speaking of wildlife, I was out running the other day here in Iowa, or not the other day. It's been a while now, but
Been quite a while.
I was out running last year. And,
Let's be honest.
Right.
But it was interesting on this trail. I came across
a bobcat.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah,
And that was probably one of the scariest events of my life, because I know nothing about bobcats. And I'm thinking, he ran off into the woods as I was coming by. And I'm thinking this whole time as I continue running that this bobcat is just, kind of watching me in the woods and kind of trailing me. And I ended up calling my mom because I couldn't get a hold of my wife, and said, here's where I'm at. Here are my coordinates. If I don't come back, a bobcat ate me. So
Nice.
that was...
we got javelinas. Y'all know what javelinas are,
No, what is
Mr.
that?
Animal Buff?
No.
How do you know?
I know
what a-
it's
I'm just kidding.
well, it's
No.
a type of cat, right?
No, it's a pig. It's a wild boar. It's basically
was
a wild
way
boar.
off.
Yeah, they're
Called
so wild boars can be pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
They eat people whole.
I live where I live. The cluster of buildings where I live, right behind it is a canal, and just behind that canal is some water and stuff like that. So they like to hang out down by there. But whenever it storms, they try to find shelter within the complex that I live in. So they come in and they're looking for shelter and stuff like that. I remember I was getting ready to get out to my car and drive to the grocery store right before a big storm, and there was a mom and her little baby javelinas. And she was standing there. She was growling at me, and I thought, "Oh my God, this is how it ends. This is it. Everything in my life has led up to this moment." So I did what any respectable person would do, and I busted out Facebook Live, and I just went on there on Facebook Live, and I streamed my escape from the javelinas.
What a time! What a time to be alive.
Anyways, thank you, Daniel, for tuning in. We appreciate you, man.
So-
Have a good night.
You know, I someone here saw a wolf down the road from my house not too long ago, like last week before that. I guess it's not uncommon to see them here. They're not massively popular in this region, but they are in our state and surrounding area, Canada, etc. I live in Washington State, and I'm in Puyallup, and I guess a wolf was seen. So, like, I mean, the wildlife that, predatory wildlife, there's also coyote and cougar here. They're
Cougars, watch out.
They're scary, dude. Yeah. Not the good kind of cougar. But I mean, I've never come across one. But I mean, in Josh's case, can you carry a weapon there, or would you have if you're running? Maybe not. But if bobcats are plentiful, you just see them in the middle of the day. That's kind of scary.
It's not very common that you see them in the middle of the day. Like that was kind of a first for me, and it scared the bejeebers out of me. I probably wouldn't carry. I mean, we do have permit to carry here. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably do like pepper spray or something like that if
Real
I
quickly,
ever...
shout out to Anthony in the chat room. He's just telling us that he enjoyed it. He's heading out.
Cool.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks,
Go
Anthony.
Huskies, yeah, dude.
Martha
He's a
wants to
Husky fan.
know, our good friend Martha, coming all the way from Texas. She wants to know. She wants to know who we're voting for. Good Lord. Go back and listen to the previous episodes. No, I'm just kidding. We'll talk about that in a minute.
You know who we're not voting for
Right.
from previous episodes.
I'm voting for Trump.
Yeah, I think we're all voting for Trump here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
that's
every
clear.
single one of us.
That's
Yep.
definitely clear.
It's a clear vote. I mean, Trump
I
is
thought that was
God's
obvious.
chosen. Trump is God's chosen prophet, according to a YouTube video I watched last night at 1:30 in the morning.
I mean, this
I-
isn't
I
a
believe
Christian podcast, but we're all Christians, right? I mean,
Right. So you clearly have to vote for
choices there.
Republicans if you're Christian, and that's the way.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're
here's no
either
meme.
pro-Trump or you're pro-Satan. I
Right.
mean, that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the way it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of it. I mean, you will be judged based on who you vote for. So that's a joke. Go back and listen to our previous episodes.
we're
all
here's
laying
the
it
thought
late.
experiment. What if Satan never got the GOP nomination?
I mean, who's
What
to say he
then?
hasn't already, hasn't he?
He'd
So what would
win
it
this.
be
He'd win this election. Let's put
gained-
it that way.
What would it be if you gained the Supreme Court but you lost your whole soul? What would it be?
What good is
What
it?
would it be? What good is it if you gain the whole Supreme Court but you lose your soul? What good would it be?
I'd think about it.
Here's the real question. What if memes was on the ballot?
I would vote memes. Who would be the
I mean,
vice president, though?
Can
Would
we
it
all
be-
agree that everyone would vote for memes?
I would say Dat Boy would be in.
Who would be the vice president, though? I mean, if you got memes.
Well,
up and down.
Jesus would be number two.
Oh, right, because he's right below in the search. Thanks, Google.
Yeah.
Thanks. As I search on my new Google Pixel, which is we're ironically being sponsored by. Thank you for tuning in to the Talk It Out podcast. We are sponsored by Google Pixel.
I love my Google Pixel, man. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, let's hear about it.
No, I mean, so if Google wants to sponsor us, I'd be more than happy to.
Oh, Bruce. I'm shocked you didn't get the iPhone 7.
You're shocked.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you were a huge advocate.
Yeah, I mean, this guy.
I mean, maybe I still will. I'll have them both, just so I like this. This will only be for listening to music
do it.
because I need to buy an entire another device to like combat their bull crap.
Behind you.
Oh, we
Behind
have a
you.
guest.
Spider-Man, watch out.
Hey, little man. This is my son.
I-
He's about to go to bed. Say hi, Gibson.
What's up?
What's up, Gibson?
Gibson's gonna be
What's
three.
up?
Gibson's gonna be 3 next month.
Dude.
Okay, give me a hug, little man. It's time to go. Time to go to
So
bed.
I literally saw an advertisement for the Pixel. It's probably about a month ago, and it said, and this was a Google advertisement, and it said, like the iPhone 7 with a headphone jack.
Yeah,
I about threw
it is.
up.
It's I love it. And so one of the things that I really I converted from Android when Marshmallow released, and I actually have it right here. I bought the iPhone 6s Plus.
Boom.
This is
Well,
the
we're rocking right now.
Pixel. So look at them.
Wow.
Oh my God.
All right.
Oh my Trump.
Okay. So
Oh my
but
Trump.
the
Oh my
Android-
meme.
So
Oh my meme.
I got really upset about the Android experience on 6.0. It was pretty bad. I didn't get a Nexus 6P or 5X there. It was just awful. They shipped a broken operating system, and they didn't do anything about it. So
So it got the job done. It just wasn't what you were looking for, right?
it didn't even get the job done. Things just failed regularly. So I
Sort
went
of
to
like
the-
unions.
Yeah, I went to the iPhone 6s Plus because I was tired of not having a stable device. So I decided to give this Pixel XL a shot. The camera is far better than any other device that even exists, including the 7. It uses USB-C, which is beautiful, and the Android experience is like the smoothest Android experience I've ever had.
Oh.
So I'm back on the Android train. If they keep cranking out this sort of quality software and hardware, I'm down. So I definitely recommend it. 2 thumbs up for sure.
Okay. Thank you for that commercial break. And real quickly, this is on a serious note. Donald Trump could win Florida,
I mean,
which means
have you been to Florida lately?
No. If he wins Florida, all he has to win is Pennsylvania, and he'll win the election by the electoral. Theoretically, he could.
Did I just disdain out loud?
Theoretically,
Sorry.
he could win the election if he wins Pennsylvania.
So I have a theory.
and Florida
I have a little
and
bit of a
Ohio.
theory. Follow
and
me on
Arizona
this.
and
Follow
Nevada.
me on this.
Okay.
If Trump is elected, and he's actually elected, first of all, I know people are going to push to impeach. But here's what I'm trying to say: if he's elected, wouldn't it be cool that we reevaluate the president's power on the whole because he's in office, and then going forward, now the president would have less power, and we go back to our even better system of checks and balances? Wouldn't that be a nice little silver lining to someone like Trump in office?
Would be interesting, to say the least. I mean, this whole thing is interesting.
We just discovered that Martha's not a Christian.
She's not voting Trump, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
She booed him.
She booed him.
Wow, Martha.
We're gonna
you know
break-
what? We're going to go ahead and boot her.
Let's pray for her.
Let's pray for her, guys. We'll pray for her.
And then she quotes me. Now I feel bad for making fun of her.
Dang it.
Anyway, yeah, I don't think that Justin has brought his article up yet.
Yeah,
No,
dude.
he hasn't. Oh, yeah, he did.
I did a survey.
Basketball.
Well, okay. All right. Well, what about Tyler's article?
Yeah, Tyler is the one that has
my
it.
article is the fact that Trump is neck and neck with Hillary Clinton, according
With
to
the Florida.
the early voter ballots.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested in this because it has seemed, according to CNN, Fox News, everybody, even Fox News, they're like, hey, Clinton she's going to win. I mean, SNL joked about it in one of their skits. They were like talking about the moderators at a debate, and the moderators were talking to each other, and they're like, can we say this yet? And they're like, yep, President Clinton. And they all laughed about it. But I mean, realistically, does Trump have a chance here? Because it's a long, hard, steep road for Mr. Trump.
Does he have
Does
a
he have a
chance?
chance?
He's got a chance. Yeah. Here, the reason he has a chance is because there's enough Republicans out there that will vote for a Republican. There's enough people that are anti-Hillary. There's enough single-issue voters out there that are only interested in things like guns and abortion. And so those voters alone are a massive amount of people to throw Trump in. Even like my mom, who I don't think will watch this, has never really expressed a lot of interest in politics, but all of a sudden she's a Trump supporter, which is odd. I don't know if she supports everything about him, but I think she's just so anti-Hillary that she, you know what I mean? So it's not like, if she were, going to hang out with him, she would probably hate him. But if you're talking about the basically the antithesis issue, whatever the opposite is, they're going to take him. Now I go third party myself, which is the opposite, and I mean, a lot of people say it throws a vote away, but my conscience is clear.
Same here.
And change has to start somewhere. And I don't think Gary Johnson is the best libertarian in the world. Not even close.
Definitely not.
But what are you going to do? You basically have to roll the dice and hopefully that the libertarians get a little more traction. But I definitely don't discredit the number of people that hate Hillary. Really, is what we're saying here.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say I know a ton of people that hate both candidates, but would rather vote for the Republican Party and hope that their whole mantra upholds.
Yeah.
So,
and here's
just
my
with that being said, I could see Trump winning in that regard. Although I was under the impression that since the media was so for Hillary winning, that's kind of what they were pushing, that I thought that would probably be enough to give her the victory. But I mean, who knows?
Zach thinks that in the chat room thinks Trump is just there to get Hillary elected. Like he's just there to throw the race.
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
That
I've heard that. Yeah.
Well,
here's my thought on this whole thing about if you're out there and you're thinking I don't like Trump, but I'm going to vote for him because I'm voting for the party. I honestly think that it will do more damage to the GOP for Trump to get elected as a GOP president than it would be for them to not get the presidency this term. I just think that there's too much wishy-washiness with Trump. He just got on the GOP because that was an easy track for him. He's catering to, certain stereotypes that are,
I like that.
More of a population.
I like that.
But I think.
Go ahead.
Go for it. No, you
go.
go.
Sorry. No. I'm just saying I like that. I like what Mitt Romney was saying. If you're a true Republican, if you're a true conservative, vote Republican and conservative in the House and the Senate where it really matters, where they're going to have the majority and they're going to be the one to call the shots. And when they send it up to whoever's in office, they can either veto it or they're going to have to accept it because nothing else is going to get done. Sort of like the whole Obama situation. People are like, oh, what has Obama done? Well, technically he's done a lot, but we won't get into that. But my point is most of the stuff that he's tried to do, he really couldn't get done because of the Republican majority post-2010. Exactly. So if you really care about Republican values, go out and vote in your local state and in House and Senate and things like that. If you really care about that kind of stuff. Presidential election, I'm sorry. Other than the whole Supreme Court thing, which is not even a guarantee, I mean, you got to just there's going to be more impact on your freaking city council election than there is going to be on the presidential election, and that's the truth.
Yeah, and there's libertarians on the ballot in Washington State where I am for not for this huge election, but for local office. And I mean, if you want to see that kind of change, man, let it happen there. Get some libertarians elected in the local offices. If you want to see libertarians, you want to see Republicans, get them located in the conservatives, or there are other parties outside of this outside of Republican. There's a conservative party, there's a constitutional party, there's also a socialist party, at least here in my state, which 30 years ago they'd been in jail or executed for being a communist. So I mean, maybe it's progress, if you want to call it progress. I'm not a fan of socialism, but progress there that they can actually have a party and be on the ballot. So try and make change locally, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you do what you want to do, but don't just get into the two-party system. I mean, this is not a democracy. It's a whatever they want to call it, a republic. I forget the term for it. Bruce, help me out here. You know this. You know this term.
Oh, it's a Democratic Republic.
Democratic Republic. It's a republic. Starts with a C.
There's confederative states, kind of. Or,
yeah, you know what I mean. Long story short, it's not a pure democracy. Pure democracy, we would vote on every single constitutional republic. That's what I was looking for.
Constitutional republic.
So, yeah.
I thought we were an autonomous collective.
I thought we vote on everything. No, you don't. We don't vote on everything.
It looks like Martha said she's writing an Evan McMullen.
Hey, that's interesting.
He was policy director for the House Republican Conference in U.S. House of Representatives, I think. And so I think he's actually on the ballot some states. I'm not sure, but he might be.
I'm writing in Justin Hartford. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Has to be done. Has to be done.
Whenever somebody dank memes.
Yeah, I'm writing in dank memes. Whenever somebody tries to argue with me about politics, like I said out loud that I was voting Gary Johnson just based off principle. They're like, you're throwing your vote away. And I was like, you know what? That's why I'm voting for you. That's my shutdown. Every time someone tries to...
It's also your right not to vote. Don't...
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too. Everybody's freaking out. They're like, oh, my God, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. Shut the hell up.
There's an old Carlin bit about that. Carlin says, a lot of people like to switch this around and say, if you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain. If you don't vote, you do have a right to complain because the people that voted in these morons.
I'm right, I do.
Yeah. Carlin was a genius, and he predated a lot of this. I think he died in like 2008 or 2009, something like that. But I mean, his stuff even from like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was like spot on when it comes to the political spectrum we're at now. So,
I concur with that. But that was my little tidbit on this whole thing. I mean, it's looking kind of weird. It's looking kind of scary. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it'll be hilarious if Trump wins, although I don't want Trump to win. I think it's going to be hilarious if he does win because I think it's going to be another Brexit. I think the world's going to end right after that. I think that's it.
We can only hope and pray that Jesus is
He's one of the Revelation horsemen, for sure. I mean, this is it. This is how it ends. I mean, everybody thought Obama was the Antichrist. I don't know. I mean, I think God's got a sense of humor. And
you're saying he's the orange horse of the apocalypse. Is that what we're?
Yeah, one of those. Something like that. I mean, it could be
low blow.
It could be very well. Let's hear anybody from the chat room got any input on Trump versus Clinton. I mean, let's hear it out. Paige Hartford, right to eat whale blubber. That's right. Thank you for that. Thank you.
That's right.
We agree. You can do whatever you want because it's a mother freaking.
So we've had
gosh darn.
And Daniel Gregoire fought for that right.
We've had a couple of comments on Josh's hair. So I'm curious.
Josh's hair. Is that a Republican hairstyle? Pro-union hairstyle?
What are you doing? Are you using Prel? What sort of shampoo?
Yeah, what you doing on your hair? Because I'm usually the hair guy. I've kind of let it loose to let it go the past year or two. But I mean,
it's super. I kind of was going to follow your suit when we had this discussion a couple months ago about your hair products and whatnot, and I was going to try that, but I got lazy. I usually put pomade in. JS Sloan is what I tend to use. But I kind of got sick of the slick back look, so I just let it go. I just use regular shampoo. I get a high and tight bald fade when I go to the barber, and I just let it do what it does. It's got this little poof that's kind of fun, and I leave it alone.
Are you a number? You look like a number 1 or a number 2, or what are you when they shave you?
It goes from like
on the sides,
nothing to
it's 0 to bald to 2, I think. Or bald to 1,
3, maybe. I think. Bald to maybe it's 4 because I've got number 3 before.
It's a skin tight fade there, so like the bottom is like all skin, almost razor there. Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because
grown out
my barber.
3 we got here.
If you're ever in Des Moines, Franklin Barbershop is the place to go to, and my barber is hilarious because the first time I got it, he's like, I told him I wanted high and tight, and he was like, "Oh, you want to see some skin? Because that'll be an extra $1." That's when I knew I was at the right place. I was like,
yeah.
this is my jam.
I go to
Oh,
a
sure.
Supernova Barber here, which is a pretty hipster sort of joint.
Yeah.
But I really like I like the way
Is
they
that
do-
in Tacoma?
Yeah, it's off of Mount St. Helens, or just St. Helens Street, St. Helens Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like North Tacoma area. No, it's sort of downtownish. Anyway, the hair thing, I haven't really cut my hair in like 8 weeks, I think. But the beard thing is where I like to roll with them. I do cut my own beard sometimes, but they know what's going on with the beard and the mustache, and so if you are at all wanting to stay groomed with your beard, I mean, Supernova is legit. And in terms of hair products, I always like. There's a new thing called the type I like is called Uppercut hair products, and I think the name of the company, I think actually the name of the company is Uppercut. If you want like some serious hold, dude, check out Uppercut.
Nice. I usually end up at my favorite place. It's a local hipster joint, Great Clips. They do a really great job. There's a lady in there. Her name is Wanda, and she's fantastic. I mean,
out,
she's
Wanda.
usually no. I mean, Wanda at Great Clips. Thank you for all you do.
Shout out to Wanda, dog.
No, but in all seriousness, there's like these like gimmick hair places that I like to try out that are just pretty funny. I have such a basic haircut that's like you can go anywhere, like because I travel so much for my job that I have to just literally just walk in to random places. But the best haircut that I ever got was at one of these gimmick hair places where like there's like young girls in there who haven't graduated, any level of schooling, and and they're in there with their like weird outfits, and they offer you a free beer, and I'm just like not interested in anything they have to offer other than a haircut, but they continuously try to like, oh, should we massage your face with this hot towel? And I'm like, no. But I went into one of those gimmick hair places, like it's like Haircuts for Men Warehouse or whatever, or something like that, and I got a haircut there, and it was pretty good. But I just think there's so many places. I mean, there's so many places for haircuts in general that are just out there. It makes you wonder how some of these places stay in business. I mean, can you open up a traditional barbershop in 2016 and stay in business? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hipster joints are back. I think what happened is there was a whole like time there in the 80s and 70s where people wanted that teased like big hair look, and that only happened like in women's shops, and so a lot of barbers were like, I'm doing that. So barbers like went out of style, like nobody went to the barber because they wanted this like 80s look. Now nobody wants that anymore, and barbers know what they're doing with a razor and a quality clipper. So they're back, and we're not. No one's getting their hair teased and frizzed and layered and everything else like they did in the 80s. So I think they're back, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was actually more the 60s though when guys started growing their hair out long.
Oh, you might be right about that. Maybe it was earlier than that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I read. I think it was. I don't remember what it was, but I read an article on that.
Oh, so we're getting close to the end here probably, but Martha said, talk about man buns. If you have to put the word man in front of a hairstyle, it doesn't need to be on you.
Yeah.
'Cause
Speaking of man
it's like
buns,
man cave, man, what is this like man date? What like
Manicure.
oh
I still get them though. I still get them.
yeah. I mean,
Can
I
you
see.
imagine-
I'm not sure what it looks
the
like.
whole man
Paige and
bun
Martha
with
are
side
pro
shaved.
man
I've
bun.
seen that before.
I'm not
you
sure
know,
if they're
Yeah.
pro that.
I
or
saw
anti
that in the 90s when
Yeah, so did
they
I.
listened to Nirvana.
Yeah, do you remember that? I'm not the only one that
Oh,
remembers
yeah.
that, right? Like the undercut was big in the early
Oh
90s.
man,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted one so bad, and my mom would never let me do it, and I ended up compromising with a bowl cut. How do you
With the bowl
compromise
cut
with
and the
a freaking
Jinko
bowl
jeans.
cut?
Well,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but then everyone started doing like bowl cut with it shaved underneath,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and that was like the skate thing. I had
That's
that.
what
for a
that's
little,
what I
like, a
did,
year.
but I didn't get to shave it underneath. I got to trim it a bit, but never the shape that I
Well,
wanted.
I think the worst hairstyle that we can probably all agree on was late '90s, early 2000s frosted tips haircut.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
What was that,
Yep.
dude?
Oh
Easy.
man.
Smash Mouth. You know,
Yeah,
like
I had it.
what was
I had
going
it for a
on?
couple years. I was rolling with that for.
I
a
never
while.
did it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did though? I did what's called the Chelsea cut, where everything is shaved except for your bangs.
Yeah.
And then I
Dude,
and then
you're
I
like
dyed
a
the
cholo,
bangs blonde.
cholo Mexican gangster. Is that's like reminds me of that.
No.
Like,
See, and I was going for more of the Misfits double lock. That was
oh,
what I
yeah,
had in
yeah,
my
yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah.
But it definitely looked quite cholo. It also that was around the same time that ICP, the Juggalos, started doing kind of that thing too. So I got mixed up with the wrong crew. Kept getting offered Faygo soda. I was like, I don't want none of that.
I don't want none of that. I stuck with the just way too long hair that definitely needed a haircut until we hit the email world, and that was in. So I was a predecessor to the whole email thing in 2004, between 2004 2011. That was for sure. That was my time. That was my
Yeah.
prime.
I wasn't cool enough to do that, and also I wrestled in high school when everyone was doing that. So like long hair would have been god awful when you're wrestling. And most guys shave their heads when they wrestle. I just had mine pretty short. But I mean, this has been the history of hairstyles. According to
Right. Yes. Thank you for tuning in to the Talk It Out podcast.
Bam.
But this is what it's about. It's an interactive podcast. And if you're interested, if you liked what you heard, we have a special Patreon account at what's our information here, Mr. Administrator Justin?
It's just talk
They
it
can
out.
they can just go find everything on our website, talkitoutpod.net. There's a page right there where you can look at our different levels of contribution if you are interested in fueling the vehicle that we call the Talk It Out podcast. It's all on the website. You can find our RSS feed. You can find link to iTunes. You can do all of those things. You can get the upcoming news at talkitoutpod.net.
Yep.
Absolutely. We appreciate everyone who tuned in today. Thank you so much. If this is your first time, go back. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on iTunes. Anything that you are interested in. Of course, check us out on our website and our Twitter. TalkItOutPod.net. Talk It Out Pod on Twitter. Seriously, this is what it's about. We jump. We shift gears as fast as you want to. We talk about what you want to talk about. And that's it. I mean, this is it. This is the Talk It Out podcast. We thank you so much for tuning in. You guys want to add anything else before we head out?
I think we have a special piece of music from a local band that Justin has worked with, and they're
Yes,
called Bitter Thieves. So we're going to end out the show with this, at least a little bit at the end, with this song called Parade by Bitter Thieves. They're great. I think it's just one guy, but it sounds like a whole band. Is that right, Justin?
Yeah. It's one guy in his musical project, and he's been a great sponsor of ChristianPig.com, and he's just a great guy.
Cool. Check him out. Where can we check him out?
You can follow him, search it on Facebook. I mean, everyone knows where to find stuff, but they also have a spot on the Christian Pig website, christianpig.com/motif/Bitter Thieves.
Cool.
Excellent.
Or you could just type in Bitter Thieves on Facebook, and I think you'll find them there.
You
too.
can Facebook it, Google it. Yeah.
Cool. So here we go.
Cool. This is Bitter Thieves. This has been Talk It Out. Tune in next time from Tyler from Scottsdale, Arizona, Bruce from Puyallup, Washington State, Mr. Josh from Des Moines, Iowa, who lost to the Wisconsin Badgers. Your college team sucks. And Mr. Justin from Bruce's backyard.
That's right. Thanks, guys.
Literally.